Okay, welcome everyone to this author spotlight interview. And today I have the absolute pleasure of getting to interview the mastermind behind this entire project and this group, the one who has interviewed many of you and who we get to dive in behind the scenes. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So okay, so do you want to share? Sorry, finding my notes here. Um, so first of all, we're approaching launch week, right? November 14th is the digital launch. And so first of all, I just want to hear how are you feeling? What is the emotions that are coming up for you? We've come a long way. This has been a real full circle moment and excited to hear how this is all landing with you.
From the initial concept to this moment, it is so extremely exciting. And as always, I'm more excited about the authors in the book and what this means for them and the transformation that some of them have had already and what's to come. It's uh, it's so exciting to see this. To me, it's a milestone, a major one, but still a milestone of all the hard work and commitment that all these women had made to themselves, and by doing that, the commitment they're making to you.
Absolutely. It is a milestone, and I'm so excited to dig into the full journey with you today. So my first question for you is, what inspired this book? What was the first spark of inspiration, for The Power Within? And, yeah, what first inspired you? And not only the book, but the movement that is growing around this book and all of the effort you've put into creating this community and nurturing it and all of those things.
Well, it started, so I'm the founder of the Women's Empower Network, and I would interview women to share their story, which therefore the intent is it would inspire other women to find their voice and create a vision for themselves. And so I was interviewing this woman, and it was strangely enough the first time I've heard of a multi-author book, and it instantaneously just made sense. The first thought I had was Jack Canfield in Chicken Soup for the Soul. It's a
Mm,
collection of inspiring stories that would provide hope for people. And that probably was the first multi-author book in a way, because
yeah,
there were a lot of short stories. So
yeah.
instantly made sense because we're about being inclusive and a collaboration and a collection of women and all our unique stories. So it was just an instantaneous yes.
Mm,
Um, but as some people have heard, it took me 8 months to find the right publisher, which just happens to be you, Inspired Hearts, which
yeah.
says it all. Um, and I didn't meet you until I interviewed another person in Australia who's a ghostwriter. And I was just sharing that interview and that inspiration I had. And she says, well, maybe I needed to meet you, which turns out we both live in the same state, not far
Yeah.
away from each other.
Yeah.
And it just clicked because I had interviewed several publishing companies, and they were all very sterile, very transactional.
Mm,
And our group is all about heart,
mm.
and your name and your business and who you are as a person speaks volumes. You have so much heart and so much care. And so it was an instant yes for me.
Absolutely. I love it. And yeah, Jenny and I met and we knew right away this was a aligned partnership and we have been working hand in hand, side by side. And I just want to give a little bit of a shout out here to you in how you have led this project and how you have really you saw the vision and you just worked and worked and worked to bring it into fruition. And partnering with you has opened my eyes to the potential of what real aligned partnership can look like and feel like, and how supportive it is. So thank you for that. And so I want to dig into your chapter because you've spent all this time, and even like you said, it's about the authors, and I know that's at the heart of this for you. You love supporting the visibility of the authors and the voices and the stories of the authors, but you have an incredible story. And so I want to dig into that for a minute. So, your chapter, The Other Side of Burnt Toast, is unforgettable. What does the metaphor mean to you, and how does it reflect your personal transformation?
It's funny how it came about. I was interviewing somebody else again, and it just popped in my head. And it just, and because I wanted it to make people laugh, because it can be really heavy
Mm,
going through life and our personal challenges and ups and downs. And of course, the growth comes from the challenging ones. And for where I'm at in my life, I'm on the other side of burnt toast, and I'm ecstatic about it. And so it was funny you asked me. I was so other focused, making sure that we were learning about call to action and how to make sure that the authors got the most out of their chapters. And you just asked me a simple question. So what's your call to action? And I was like, haven't really thought about it. And I had written a story already for the chapter, but then you mentioned, well, maybe it's, the group focus.
mhm,
And so then I took the perspective of um, my journey as being a leader, and
mm,
and not knowing this at the time, but like every other woman in the book, in the process of writing the story, I could see the woven thread through life of my journey that I am right where I was always meant to be, and
mm.
life just kept giving me opportunity after opportunity after opportunity until I finally said yes. You
Yes.
know, to feel like I've arrived. And my dream and wish is that it happens for women much earlier in life than it did for me. Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the whole mission behind this, right? Is that we are reaching other people that are maybe a few steps back in their journey or moving through something similar, and get the foresight and the insight from the camaraderie that happens when you share your story and understand that from a different perspective. So, absolutely. And I know some of the questions we're gonna dig into, which you already alluded to, is the kind of the transformation that happened with writing a chapter and really working through all the pieces and realizing kind of wow, that clarity that comes through when we do that. Um, so my next question is, you talk about learning to say yes in your chapter. To spirit after years of hesitation, what shifted inside you that allowed that yes to finally come through with such confidence?
There's a whole background story. If we had an hour, I would share it all. But at this point in my life, the latest chapter version of it was I lost my husband 5 years ago. He was my best friend, and I saw him die with his dream still in him. And being older, I got thinking about my immortality and what would I regret if I didn't do it in my life.
Mm,
And it was saying yes to this calling that's been with me, different phases of my life. It was louder than other times. But I finally got to a place in time where my excuses and my fear couldn't stop me anymore. It was like I really literally just called BS on myself. This is such, excuse me, but this is just such bullshit. These are just
yeah.
belief systems,
Yeah. Mhm.
And so I said yes. And when I said yes, I didn't have the full picture. And
Yeah.
had I had the full picture, I might not have said yes. I
Mhm.
just I just answer the I have gone through enough life experiences of not listening and paying the consequences to having to test it out. It's like, well, why should I trust you? Because we're all conditioned out of trusting that inner knowing from very early on in life to
Absolutely.
finally saying yes. And then I was giving enough of a vision of what's next, what's next, what's next. And as we talked about a minute ago, my ability to see much more now is so much easier and it doesn't invoke fear. It doesn't invoke distrust or doubt or how it's going to happen. It's more of a, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. And I have implicit trust that I will be guided along the way and I will know what I need to know as I go. And so now it's like stepping into a slipstream. And I would love for everybody to, whatever their dream or goal is for themselves, is to step into that slipstream of their own life and feel like they've arrived. I mean, you never get it finished, you never get it done, but to
Yeah.
just feel like you're being pulled along with the current instead of fighting it all the time.
Absolutely. It seems to be a thread that weaves through a lot of the chapters is saying yes to ourselves to really pushing back on those beliefs that, have been instilled in us and on some of the things that will keep circling around for us until we're ready and finally deciding to say yes. And I think one of the things that I admire so much about you is saying yes with confidence, with a real conviction of trust in the truest form. So for anyone who's listening, especially if you're listening live, make sure to mark your calendars because this Friday, November 14th, the digital copy is coming out and you get to read the full story behind Jenny's chapter, my chapter, and the other authors. And there's so much inspiration. There's so much reflection. There's so many opportunities for you to see yourself in these different stories. So, a little shameless plug for us there. Um,
No
so
shame.
yeah, no shame, no
No
shame.
shame.
Um, so as the visionary and the curator, what was it like holding space for all these women to bring their stories to life through this book?
It was exciting. It was just kind of to put it a little bit into perspective. I grew up in a household with a military background, and there was always us and them and competition. And for me to just step into the wholeness of who I am and seeing that it takes the collective group of humanity and having and just witnessing and getting to be a small part of their stories and reading their stories and what they've been through to come out to who they are today. It takes all of us to reach a mass amount of people. So
Mhm.
it takes all of us together. So it was real easy and it was really fun and it was really, some of them actually brought me to tears. They reminded me of a phase in life that wasn't so fun.
Mhm.
And so I could identify with these different authors. And I've been through, quite a bit of similar things that they've been through, like divorce and loss and, having to be responsible for a family at a young age. Um, it was just very enlightening to see how the stories all wove together.
Absolutely. And I think one of my favorite parts about being a part of a collaboration project like this is the connections that are made. They're deeper than just learning beside someone or even working with someone because we're all really being vulnerable. We're sharing pieces of ourselves that we maybe never have shared before. We're getting clarity on our story, on our business, on all these parts. So there's this cohesiveness that happens when you bring together people from around the world and around a like-minded and hearted theme and vision and really lift each other up in this process. So it is really incredible. Uh, okay, so my next question is Um, Many women feel the nudge to write their story, but stop themselves out of fear. And we talked about that a little bit ago, or perfectionism or doubt, which is a big one also. What would you say to someone standing at the threshold? They know they have a story or they have this vision, they have something on their heart, but there's some hesitation in it.
The first thing I would say is, like I said earlier, is, if you're feeling the nudge, just say yes.
Mhm.
And that know that there's support for you along the way, whether it's with us or another group. It's finding your tribe. We've all been conditioned to like have like a sense of like having to prove ourselves and be solopreneurs and everything. And we're coming into a new era of coming back to the wisdom of women together and supporting each other. One example was I had a person before decided to say, well, actually, she said yes, but she just couldn't see how financially she could make it happen. And I just suggested that, how it's not our business. Let's just put that aside for just a moment and getting to the feeling of what this project means to you and why you're getting that feeling to say yes. And then within a couple weeks, the answers came and the money showed up.
And she has been one of the shining stars. I mean, she's just shown up and shown up and shown up. And I know she's had such growth through this
Yeah,
journey. Um,
I'm in awe.
Yes, absolutely. And it's incredible to witness when, it's a little different when we can say yes, when we face our fears, when we storm ahead. It's different than witnessing someone else do it, right? And you can just see them jumping on that train. And it really proves the concept that when we say yes to ourselves, that when we trust and believe that things do work out, that things do come together, and it's pretty cool, I think, being removed from it enough to be able to see it for someone else.
Right? Isn't it? It's
Yeah.
it's a blast to see it just the light come on and the trusting and the openness, the willingness to be open to the idea that, it's so typical. I hear it all the time in the interviews and conversations,
Yeah.
how we and not like anybody's bad or wrong. It's just conditioning in the world that we've been living in that puts these blinders on us.
Yeah.
And instead of in the power of that entity or whatever you want to call it that creates worlds,
Mhm.
we have that within each of us, but we've been taught to limit what we think is possible. And when you take those blinders off and you just open yourself up, like, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I can just feel, I got the nudge to say yes. So let's just go with it and see how it unfolds.
Yeah. And that's the heart of the book, right? The power within. So the other big piece, the book weaves together stories of strength, of voice, of vision. What do those themes, those words mean to you personally?
Well, first is having the strength to say yes,
Mhm.
and then finding your own unique voice and learning to speak up. I mean, for eons, we have dimmed our light so that we could fit in, so we don't rock the boat, so everybody will like us. Um, and this is a time where we're learning to be true to ourselves when a yes is a yes and a no is a no.
Mhm.
When we feel called to do something or we feel a need to speak up. And
Mhm.
then in doing so, in that journey of finding strength and voice, the visions start to unfold and getting to watch that, like you said, this particular author and watching what's unfolding for her. There's no way that any of us could have imagined it. It's kind of like you have to go through the steps first. You have to say yes first before you see what's next. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so and then yeah, it's just exciting. So it kind of goes, in an order in a way.
That's true. It really does. And I think you make such a good point, which this is sprinkled throughout many of the chapters. which is not always being able to know, but trusting ourselves, the power within us, to trust that we can navigate and make decisions based on our own inner knowing is, I think it's probably the most powerful message in the whole book because it really gets to the heart of what we all are doing, which is doing unconventional things. We live in this incredible time. We have these different opportunities, but you can sit on the sidelines and watch other people as they go down the parade, or you can jump in and say, this is my piece. This is what I have. This is what I want to share. So it's really a call to all of us. And maybe you are one of the ones that are just watching, but how can you cheer for those that are going down? And how can you kind of claim your piece in this? So it's pretty amazing, honestly. So, what's the first small step you'd encourage someone to take if they feel the quiet call to share their story?
Well, the very first step is, we'll provide some links, is to just have a call. There's
Hmm.
no obligation, but just have a clarity call with us, whether it's Nicolette or myself. Um, you know, share what's happening for you and what you're feeling called to do. And let's see if we're in alignment. I have no attachment. That's another big piece of it. It's being detached. Um, in the Buddhist tradition, attachment is the source of all suffering.
Mm.
So being detached to outcomes or to a particular way that something's supposed to look, you talk about freedom, it's just being detached. So, book a call with us and ask the questions. We're here to be of service,
Yeah,
whatever path
I
you want to take.
I think it's such an important point. You're so supported, and there's so many ways of being supported. You don't have to do this alone. And there's people like Jenny and myself who, have done those first few brave steps and are now, excited to guide other women, and some men too. We're going to get into that in a minute, down this process of really the self-discovery and claiming their own vision and their own strength. So, okay, so I, what do you hope readers walk away with after reading The Power Within? You've had a chance to read all the chapters, you know what's being shared. So of course there's your chapter, but there's the whole book, The Collective. And what do you hope people walk away with?
I hope that within these 14 authors that you find at least one that you feel inspired by that help you say yes to whatever's next for you. That's what I really hope for each and every person.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that is really important to us that we highlight the authors. We kind of touched on that. Links and ways to reach out and connect with them, is throughout the book. And the most important thing is just take that step, reach out, even if it's just a reach out, a social, a private message saying, I read your chapter and it really resonated with me. You have no idea how much that is going to mean to that author. And so just supporting, taking following that nudge. If someone's story, if their voice or their vision, or their strength really resonates with you, please, 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 take the step to connect with them because, like I said, there's a whole world of support waiting for you that you don't even know is there yet. And so take that, follow that nudge for sure. Um, so one of the things is, I know this has been such a journey for you, Jenny. It's really, I mean, it's been incredible to witness you, showing up, like I said, with such real strength in your vision. It's something I've really admired about working with you. But what was the most surprising things that have opened up for you in, curating this book and creating this experience for the authors and writing your own chapter? What are some of the surprises that kind of popped up?
Well, honestly, one of the first ones that popped up was it was harder than I thought it was going to be. Because I was a nobody to most of these women. This is the first time we met.
Mm,
And so, there was ups and downs in the journey, but I've had enough life experiences and ways of looking at the world that kept me going. So
mm,
even when I felt like, oh, this is too hard or this isn't working, I would think of, for an example, like we talked about earlier, Jack Canfield. When he
mm.
was publishing his book, the story goes that he went to 258 publishers. 258. How many of us would give up after three or
Right.
five?
Oh my
Or
God.
like the light bulb, he found 10,000 ways that it didn't work. So I
Mm,
would always bring in those stories to myself to encourage myself. It's just a matter of finding the right people that it resonates with, that it's the right time. And so the biggest thing was just to keep going. Just,
mm.
that my temporary emotions were just that. They were just temporary.
Yeah.
And as soon as I pushed through them and just, kept at it, then it just kept evolving, and then it would just pull me forward.
Yeah.
So,
It, back to the other side of the burnt toast. It sounds like.
yeah, 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 it's such a
Yes.
metaphor. There's so
Yes.
many metaphors in that example. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know you and I, we worked really closely together. I mean, we've been meeting weekly since the beginning of this project, mostly. There's been a few off weeks, but I know the conversations we had where you're like, I learned this 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and now I'm realizing this is a tool that I get to use in this process. And so I think that's been one of the really fun things to recognize that when we do something new, when we're saying yes to something that is uncomfortable, it, when we're moving through the process, some of the things that we have learned or worked through or whatever it is will show back up for us. And it's such a reminder that the things we're doing always make sense. Even when we can't or don't understand it, it's not always immediate.
Right.
But it will come full circle sometimes. And I think that is really cool too. So I am so excited to dig into this next question, which is what's next for you now that your story is going to be out in the world? This book is going to be out in the world. What projects, offerings, and dreams are unfolding, which I know there's a lot, so I'm excited for you to share that with us.
The first thought is fasten my seatbelt.
Mhm.
Because as you start to trust that inner knowing, then more and more gets revealed to you. So, what's super exciting is in the middle of this journey of the power within, it came to me to do the Power series. So, it's a 5 year project. This is year one or volume one. And we're already in the works after the launch on Friday. Just a little sneak preview. The next year's book is going to be about the power revealed. And so
Mhm.
for me, it's kind of like my own journey being revealed in each of these chapters, but the 5 years was already revealed to me, which is kind of the next one, you know. Um, and so it's going to be an exciting opportunity for me to share this opportunity with other authors that maybe this year wasn't quite the right year, but there's another opportunity to come.
Yes.
And as you would say, a little, what did you call it? A little promo is if people sign up, we're just asking for a deposit. If they sign up before November 30th, they will get this year's rate, this year's price to do it. And there's so much more clarity because being the beta test in a way,
Mhm.
I didn't have the full picture in the beginning. And
Mhm.
so out of that, these women are going to get opportunities to be leaders within the Women's Empowered Network. Whatever phase of development they are, they're going to get free coaching with me for a year to develop whatever's next for each of them. And some want to be speakers, some want to write more books, some want to learn how to do events. All of it is inclusive. And then from there, just recently, and we talked about this, This is,
Okay,
you
hold
know,
on. Before you
hours.
spill that, where can people, where do people go to learn more about if they're like, oh yes, I want to learn more about potentially becoming an author in the next series or in the next book, where do they go?
Well, after I'm going to wait till after the launch on the 14th. So on the 17th,
Okay.
it's going to go live. I'm going to provide a link uh, that they can learn about next year's project.
Okay.
And the plethora of things that are all included. So, we've said this, I've said this all along. I don't do things in a small way, as Nicolette noticed. It's
Yes.
not a one and done. It's not a cheap, pay a few $100s and have a chapter and have a nice life. It's a movement.
Mm.
It's personal growth. It's a journey. Um,
Yeah.
so
And it's
so
just a deeper level of support than most people, I think, realize in the network, the coaching, the visibility, the clarity that comes from writing their chapter, which we really kind of only touched on here, which is really incredible because you get to really put when there's something that happens when we sit down and reflect on our journey and are presenting it for others, that really helps us to get clarity on where we're going, where we've been, why the work we're doing matters. So that's super exciting. So the first step is purchase the book, the digital copy of the book, The Power Within, on November 14th, and then watch this space because Jenny is going to be giving out so many offers that people get to capture the opportunity to get to jump on this opportunity at the same rate as the authors who just went through it. So it's really incredible.
And I want
Okay.
to say too, I need to do a plug for you,
Mhm.
and why this was such an excellent connection is, we talked about just, not just what I'm offering, but what Nicolette brought to the table and the insights and the wisdom and the grooming of each person on how to use your chapter and what is the call to action and what is it that, you really want to be saying and what do you want people to take away. I mean, that training's been phenomenal. And that was something that I didn't have that reservoir of
Mhm.
information. So I've been blown away with what she brings to the table and just beside myself grateful that we connected like this.
Thank you so much. I think, yeah, we just made a really good partner, partnership. And, this is my sixth collaboration that I've produced, or co-produced with you this time. But, I, it's, there's so much that has come with the experience, and then yet every book is a little different. But what I so appreciate about you, Jenny, is you just see this vision and then you're like, okay, let me put the pieces together. Let me organize this. Let's make this something that can be sustainable. And so we just really partnered well, I think, and it's been so much fun bringing this project to life with you. So now, drum roll, because there's more. What else is coming up for you?
Oh my gosh, and this is just most recent. And just as of this morning, I got the URL for it. So another vision that came out, and it was always in pursuit of how can I be of more service to these women? How
Mm,
can I give them more? How can I help get their names out in the world? And so this idea of doing a magazine,
mm,
um, and it's going to be called Illuminaire Life, and
mm,
it's going to go under a what we you touched on just briefly earlier is, Women's Empower Network has all been about women, but there's beautiful conscious men out there, and we are missing out on their brilliance and their intelligence. So next year I'm going to be creating a Luminaire Global, which is for men and women who are bringing their light to the world, because we all like the picture. It's we all have this inner knowing that nobody else can know for you. I can't know for you. Nicolette can't know for you. Only you know. And so just providing you the support and encouragement to believe in yourselves, believe in what you do know, believe in what the gifts that you have to bring to the world, and create a platform in an arena where they can shine and stories can inspire other women to start trusting and believing in themselves. And maybe for the first time, having a tribe, a place where they feel like they belong. I mean, like I said, I was raised in a military family and I couldn't be more different than my family. That I am. So sometimes your new family is your soul family, a spirit family that resonates with who you really are. And that's what I saw in a lot of the authors is, I mean, I didn't give it much thought to this moment, how there's just this automatic level of comfort and trust and love and support for each other because we're honoring the uniqueness of who each of us are. There is no judgment or comparison or any of those type things. So,
Yeah.
um, and
Oh my
that's
gosh.
just
So
the tip of
exciting.
the iceberg. I
This
know.
and this really just came about, in the last couple of weeks, month
Yeah.
maybe. And it was spurred by moving through this project.
Yep.
Which, it's funny because you have to share a little bit then that this is it's a full circle moment for you, right? This isn't your first magazine.
No, it's been 33 years. And what I was sharing with Nicolette, I have not felt this lit up. And I was just thinking on it this morning is this, it's like I said, like I say in my chapter, whatever is there for you that's calling on you, it will keep calling until you finally say yes. Um, and I'm just so giddy about it. It just,
Mhm.
and the difference between who I was 33 years ago, where I had so much self-doubt and so much insecurity, to where I am today. And I don't have all the answers, but I have, what would the word I'd use? Just explicit trust.
Mm.
There is no more doubt for me. It doesn't mean I don't have doubts in other areas of my life, but
Sure.
when I'm in that space of my calling, I don't need to know how it's going to turn out or how I'm supposed to do it. I just saw the vision and it was just a profound, absolutely, yes, count me in, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. I mean, it's just incredible to witness your journey, and how things have been opening up and just your ability to show up and say yes, yes, yes again, which circles back through what you shared in your chapter and how I've seen you maneuver through this entire project, and beyond it, because there's so much you're doing. And so, is there a place yet for people to go to learn more about the magazine, or is that kind of to come?
That's to come, and it'll probably come in December. My intention is to be able to launch it in January, and it's an opportunity. This is another one of those visibility opportunities where the authors are going to get an opportunity because it's electronic, and I'm beside myself giddy about that, um, where we can, plug in videos. The idea came to me from Harry Potter. I don't know how many people are familiar with Harry Potter, and they had the newspaper, and they were like the
Oh, yeah,
stories were in movement, and
yeah,
so that kind of came in my mind. I'm like, well, why not? It's it's
digital.
electronic. It's
Yes,
digital. So,
yes.
you're gonna be able to read about the author or click on a link and it'll take you to their interviews. There's going to be a directory. There's going to be a place for people who aren't necessarily in the book who want to advertise. And I see this in the next 2, 3 years of being at least 100,000 people distribution globally.
Yes, I see it. I totally see it. I'm so excited for all the things. So, to published author, publisher of The Power Within, now magazine distributor, creator. A year ago, did you see all these things happening, or even maybe a
No,
little bit?
they weren't in my orbit anywhere, you
Yeah.
know, even in this solar system.
Yes. Yeah.
You know? Not at all. So,
Yeah.
and
Oh my
and like
gosh.
you said, it was the challenges. It was the little
Yep.
struggles that took me to a different path that I wouldn't have necessarily thought to go to, that it was born out of. So if you think that you don't understand why something is happening to you, and I share it a little bit in my chapter, there's probably a gift in it. Whatever those
Mm,
burnt edges are, or those the pressure or the struggle,
yeah.
it's actually a clue.
Yes,
So I
absolutely.
always say, just before any major breakthrough, sometimes it's a major breakdown. Mine
Yeah.
are much more subtle now. They're not, you
Yeah.
know, the end of the world or
Sure.
life is ending as I knew it. It's more
Yeah.
like, ooh, what's next?
What's
Ooh,
this? And when we can
yeah,
detach, I think it's such a big part of it. And you talked about it a little bit earlier about detaching from the outcome and trusting the yes, that it's going to lead you to the next step and the next step. And knowing that when those frictions come up or those challenges, that there's a little golden nugget in there somewhere.
yeah.
It's either going to, be a learning opportunity or going to bring you the next rendition of the vision or whatever it is. And so for anyone who is watching this, I just want to encourage you to connect with Jenny because she is the perfect model of what that can look like. And she walks her walk, okay? But she also has this really great way of guiding others along this journey. So in closing, is there anything else you want to share as we wrap up?
Just it's not your fault that you were conditioned out of learning not to trust yourself and to look outside in the world for answers, when the truth is the answers are within you. When you were a little child and you put on that cape or the tea party or the firefighter or whatever, you just did it with total abandonment. You didn't
Mm.
think about how I could make this happen, if I could make it happen. Maybe I'm too young or I'm not smart enough. There was none of that. And it's almost like full circle, coming back to that innocence and learning to trust that inner guidance. Don't hide your light anymore. We need your light. Everyone needs your light. They need to see you. Stop playing small. Come join
Absolutely.
us.
Yes, come join us and make sure to mark your calendars for Friday, November 14th. Get the digital copy, share the love, bring other people along on this journey, support the authors who said yes, who, had to make a brave decision, who had to say, yes, my story is valuable. I am, worthy of being in this role and I have something so valuable to share. So, thank you, Jenny, for being here with us today and for leading this vision and mission. So excited to see the next things that come along for you.
Thank you. And just a last little, just say yes in the comments if you want to find out how to get the link to support these authors.
Just say yes.
Just say yes.
That's it. Awesome. Thank you.